Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. A subscriber request to review my replay. How did I do? So going in with the Chieftain, they originally suggested this for a tutorial, but I like to do my own personal gameplays when it comes to tutorials. So we'll go through this as more of how they did. Kind of went back and forth on some feedback. Let me know in the comments what you think. But going in and playing a heavy tank, the first thing I'm looking for is the movement right at the beginning. So the fact that Summer is moving right at the beginning is great. She's going in a direction, in an area, location that's going to help her utilize that gun depression, because the Chieftain, a lot of its strength is gun depression. Now, she's putting herself a little bit in a flat position against a T-62A that has a pretty high DPM and rate of fire. Got shot there on the side, but now putting herself in a good position once again to utilize that gun depression. So trying to just peek around the corner using the landscape, which is good. She's trying to use that as protection when coming up against the enemies. Now, got a little lucky there. I would have to say through this replay, I was feeling a little antsy or just like, okay, dude, but it ended up just working out. So here, this is kind of a rough position because the VK is got really good frontal armor and is a little bit more of a flat ground heavy. And using APCR rounds is good, definitely going to help. Now, this is definitely a bad spot. And I'm just thinking, okay, you're going to get nailed. There's the VK, there's the E3, but very smart. Goes around here, gets behind the E3, which is definitely what you needed to do. So a lot of things happening here that I probably wouldn't recommend, I guess in a kind way of putting it, but it ends up working out to their advantage. So focusing on a C3, got to get rid of that 640 average damage cannon. And then now going back and being very aware of the map, being very conscientious of where the team is, where the enemy is, focusing on these low health targets, getting kind of up in front with these medium tanks to utilize your armor, which is really good. That's helpful for the Chieftain. Now, this guy in the T-54, not really in a good spot going head to head with the Chieftain, especially putting himself in a position right between these two. And now things are getting a little tricky because we're running into close to a 3 versus, now it's technically a 3 versus 1. And you know the adrenaline's just going in a moment like this. So really kind of being up here on the hills, they do have the upper hill, the higher ground, which is helpful, and trying to use that gun depression, which is really good. These enemies are using the landscape. They're being a little careful, which is good, and they're kind of low on hit points. So it kind of leaves everyone a little bit of a rough spot. Now, that was a great shot by the Leopard. The Leopard is an incredibly accurate tank. And now they're getting a little bit pushed on. Now, this coming up was just perfect. Such a good shot. Great focus there on the Waffenträger. And then now focusing the frontal armor back toward the Leopard, using your strong points of the tank, going in there. That was really good. The Leopard did put himself a little bit too close, but it was trying to use that landscape. Now, here with the Sheridan, you kind of think, shoot, how is the Chieftain going to catch up to the Sheridan? Because with the light tank versus a heavy tank in a one-on-one match, it can be a bit of a nightmare, especially when the light tank has the view range advantage. So this is actually pretty smart, going down trying to capture the base instead of just trying to chase. So trying to get these supremacy bases to help quite a bit. So did spot the Sheridan, kind of wondering if the Sheridan's going to mess up here. So not necessarily sure, but really they captured base B, which is great, trying to move up and guesstimating where they're going to appear, where they're going. So they definitely have the right direction in guessing where they're going, trying to close in, take a shortcut to close that gap, get closer engagement, wanting to be careful, which is good. Beautiful shot, just one more. Can they get it? The Chieftain's maneuverability is okay, but the Sheridan's is better and perfect. So all in all, there was kind of a mix of a lot of things I personally probably would not have done in this, but it goes to show you there's many different ways to play. Good replay, intense, fun to watch. Thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed. Muffin here. Stay cool and keep tanking.